Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Riley Harvey for VCN, and this is the Moonriders Tour, episode 2, and we are on stage 6, which takes us to Germany. We've got 42.9 kilometers of racing tonight, and some hefty lumps in here as well, and stacked field. It's 47 riders so far lined up to take on this event. See how quickly they can get through this whole thing. It's going to be a challenging ride tonight for some of these riders. Some big lumps in the middle, bit of elevation, bit of pain before it drops down into the flats, and some spiky sections towards the end. We are live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and all manner of different platforms, but all of the communication comes back to VCN HQ. So no matter what platform you're on, if you want to send a message in, if you want to check in with one of your teammates, you want to find out what's going on with one of the riders, if you want extra coverage for someone that you're supporting, give us a shout and we will make that happen for you. I hope that you enjoy watching the racing with us. As we see, we've got 1 minute 50 left to go. Just a couple of riders joining in last minute. We will be getting riders joining in every second up until the very death. The event is shown in the main app, so people will be able to sign up and join in at the last minute. We're expecting, as per usual with these races, there will be an electric, very, very fast start off from the start line for the first few 100 meters. With virtual racing, the races tend to be generally shorter, and they're also not normally big tour races, so you know the riders aren't riding for 6 hours a day for 3 weeks, back-to-back days. So the riders do get off with a bit of a bump at the beginning to create an initial break, really, an initial separation between the riders who are competing for GC and those who are just along for a cruise. With 25 seconds left to go, 53 riders in the course. This is a tour event, so there are 7 stages, but it's been set up in a very forgiving way by the Moonriders team who've organised this event, in that the 5 best stages that you do are the ones that will count. As we see, Rocket Roy Neal, Keith OTR, and that's Casper Hederdam there going off on the front, all going off with high powers. We've got SDW, the Southborough District Wheelers, there in big numbers at the front of this race. Have to forgive me, I'm a bit sniffly tonight. It seems like my allergies have kicked off this evening. The big group here: Igor Kops near the front, Almeida, Zator, Barnett, Andrei Krajowski, Roy Neal, Keith Aitchison, Herrera, the rider going off the front there. Hederdam been reeled in. Hederdam wearing the East Cycle Denmark jersey, the red jersey with a pinkish jersey really with the white banner through the middle of it. I think he's the only rider from the ECKD club competing in this event tonight. Moonriders, Southborough District Wheelers, Cook a 3R there, so I think 3R team in tonight. So the Moonrider's last event was just an individuals event. This one has a team classification as well. Doug Hart, the pedalers there. Might be Henrik Mard in that front line as well. So we have a team classification in this event as well. I'll go through some of the classification. You can see Matthias Fischbach there as well. Matthias Fischbach, frequent contributor to the BCN channel. Stringing out on these early sections of the course. There's some riders who are looking to make it stick early and go with a big group. Just heading over to RGT DB, which is the results service for most of the RGT races. It's www.rgtdb.co.uk or rgtdb.com. There's no, if you're using the .com, there's no www. It always catches me out. And in the individual classification, we've got 3 different sections. There's the gold, the open category, silver jersey, which is the silver and bronze category. There's also the green jersey for the best sprinter, and the sprinting stages are 1, 2 and 5. And the red jersey for the best climber, which is 3, 4 and 6. So tonight's quantified as a climbing stage. Not a massive amount of climbing in the stage, but more significant than the other races. In the golden jersey classification currently, we've got Bietigheim in first position with a total score of 818. Close behind though is Henrik Mard of the pedalers, and then not far behind those two is Lorenzo Simons and Rocket Roy Neild. Roy having a slightly less than ideal first stage that he rode, and stage 5 that he rode also not the best, so they're currently looking like he may be dropping those depending on how he gets on tonight. But yeah, Henrik Mard has been fairly decent in all of them, but he may look at dropping his stage 4 again depending on how well he rides tonight. Bietigheim had a poor stage 2, so looking like that may be his stage that he drops. He does well tonight. The last time this event was run, we did cover all of the racing once again, and it was fantastic to see in the last series that the event came down to the last race, and in fact it actually ended up as being a draw, as one of the ways that it was worked out. So it was really good, really tight racing last time. The camera is actually on Roy Neild. So far this evening we've seen a lot of his efforts going on. He's managing to stay in the pack and save some power but not get too far dropped that he's at risk of losing out. Igor Kops at the front. Igor Kops races with the Slovenian riders, organises races with the Virtue Slow group. Daniel Nurgber there, Adler's team. Henrik Mard just being picked out briefly there in the middle of the road. behind those. Group that's just teasing away, following the wheel of Casper Heiderdam there. Casper just dragging a few riders off the front there. Looking there is Newton's getting away on the front. Tim Cook, one of the Moonriders there. Nice route to Clace, putting in some efforts on the front. He looks behind, see if he's opened the gap up. As we get into a little bit of elevation, gradient up at 8% now. Casper comes through. Casper has been racing for a while on RGT. The E-Cycle Club Denmark guys were running their leagues on Be Cool, and they've started drifting over to RGT in bigger numbers. A few of them came over, enjoyed the platform, and have basically told their friends about it. So we're hoping that maybe next year the whole of the E-Cycle Club Denmark league will be taking place on RGT. There's a crest, doing some descending now. I think we've just got a separation in the groups here. Bit of gapping occurring. And this front group is dropping down. Lorenzo Simons there wearing the next E-Shore top. Groups drop down to 16 in this front group. Iglesias just caught on the wrong side of a break there. I think Iglesias will have a lot of trouble getting back there. Lorenzo Simons just having to bring out the big guns and apply a little bit of power to stick in with the group there. Iglesias gradually being distanced, and they're just going to ease up now and wait for the next group on the road to catch them up. Herrera has been dropped as well, but they're not quite giving up there, pushing, try and keep in contact and to catch back up with Iglesias there. So, just quickly as well, we've got a women's GC on this event as well. So quite a good thing is that the Moonriders do put a lot of effort into trying to split up the GC and creating as much categories as possible. Not having everyone in these events, so there's different time slots happening, so I can't cover everybody. We can see in the women's GC that Karen Bailey, I think, has been racing this time slot most of the time. I'm not sure if she's in tonight. Karen Bailey is currently in first, and she's overtaking Anne Y. And Anne has already raced this stage, and has, as a result of stage 6 being one of her better times, she's dropped stage 3. And Wendy Wonderwheels, Wendy Gallagher, has also raced this stage already, but she missed 2 stages, whether that's because of choice or she wasn't able to. So hers is still waiting on a final score coming through. So it's very close between Karen Bailey and Anne Y, depending on results of this stage. You see Oystensen and Herrera. Peter Austin just up in the front there. think that's Rob Miller, Team 3R. Andrei Krajowski. A little bit in no man's land, we've got Ostino and Simon Miller. And Iglesias is just continue going backwards after that early burst. I think they've maybe burnt too many matches on that early section of the course. And we've got a group here of Marty Caruso of Team ADR, another team that we're seeing more and more of in the RGT events. Vanderberg and Isator. As Achilles, Crichton, Gabe, Mike Wareham. And it's Helveg there. I did say that I didn't think there was another rider from the ECKD, but I think that another one there. Stephen Bellio. They're just in front of Almeida. And Matthias Fishback, who was up in that lead group earlier on, just dropped back slightly. Very, very fast pace from the lead group. Matthias putting out some good, solid power there. Nice high cadence as well. Spinning those cranks. And then we have Stolar, RGT Sweden. Alvario. Van Reeth. Got a grouping here of Pascal, Sargiano, Denia, Smeets. Then we've got Kate Eady, who is in the ladies GC category. Kate will need to complete the next 2 stages to sort of qualify basically for the overall GC. She's already missed 2 stages, so she needs to hit the next 2. But she has, in the stages that she's took part in, she's took full points. So she's took part in stage 2, stage 3, and stage 5. So she's got a good chance of finishing up high on the GC. Continues in the same way that she's at the moment. She could take 1,000 points. Got Volkerstorff. There's Mayorquin and McFarlane. And Barbosa there coming to a halt. Fortunate. They've dropped out. I'm not sure what happened with Barbosa there. And then we've got Karen Bailey, who is currently in the lead in the women's GC. We'll head back up to the front of the race. I think Karen Bailey's the last live rider that we've got this race at the moment. We've had a few dropouts. See Daniel Schoch pushing on at the front of this race. And again, gapping, opening up. Now that's a big gap back to that group there. Got a group of 10 with about 6 following. Barnett having to put in an effort there to get back to the wheels. It's still going on at the front here. Igor Kops is having to chase on as Wouter Claes and 2 of the Pedalairs riders have gone off the front. And this is looking like it might be another further separation here as the gap from the chasing group to this lead group just opens up there. It's going to be a big bridge for any rider that tries to make it. Lorenzo Simons caught on the right outside of that. Tim Cook that's at the front of the chase group, trying to make the catch. Doug Hart now lifts the pace on the front. I think these riders are seeing that there is a separation been made and are not wanting that chase group to get back on. Igor Kops, distance slightly. Back on. Barnett now. Barnett, as it terrain's flattened slightly. Barnett's putting in an effort. So he's catching back up to Daniel Nurgbur. Daniel Nurgbur now putting an effort. Well, he's up at 7.6 watts per kilogram. Power's dropped. None of his teammates are dropping back to help him out. He's being recovered by the chasing group. See Tim Cook now putting an effort. Nurgbur falls into the wheels. Tries to recover some of his energy. And I think this is going to prove to be a separation from this group. We've got a group of 8 up front. Four riders chasing, but they're not going to work together and bridge that gap. So just go back to the categories, the jerseys. So we've got the silver jersey category as well, which is being, I'd say, dominated by Greg Barnett. Greg was racing in the VCN Championships the other day, and he really did seem to have a lot of power, frequently being dropped by the group that he was with, but being able to recover. And he's done quite well so far in this event. He's up in first position with 865 points, which is over that of Peter Austin, OTR rider, who's the next nearest, and he's 734 points. And beyond them, there's Julian Fussell, the Southbury District Wheelers, who I'm not sure we've seen him in this event tonight. Keep my eyes open for him, but I didn't see him as we went through the riders earlier on. I didn't see his name pop out. And then there's Isator for the Moonriders. And then we've Arnaud Dennett, who is currently in 5th position, but only having rode 3 stages, and he's won those. Matthias Lundqvist, another one who I think is absent this evening. He's been riding quite a few of the stages. RGT Sweden. On the green jersey competition is now complete, having only taken place on stages 1, 2 and 5, and the green jersey been won by Lorenzo Simons, and second place was Wout Klaes, and then following those riders was Matthias Lundqvist rounding out the podium, and Henrik Mard was just outside. Red jersey will be finalised tonight. The early leader, and I think it's an insurmountable lead is Arnaud Denet, who has raced this stage already today and took maximum points, which has took him out to a total of 580 for the red jersey. He's racing for this category against John Beams. Now, even if John Beams took maximum points on this stage and managed to get 200 points, that would only take him to 570. So I think it's a foregone conclusion there for Arnaud Denet to have won the red jersey category. And then heading to the Team GC, which becomes a little bit more complicated. Current leaders are the pedalers, who are racing with 2,513 points in total, and they are, probably see that there's 3 riders in the front pack for the pedalers. That'll be a good points haul for them tonight, even though those riders got back on the stage, don't finish quite as highly. It'd still be a good points haul for them. But they are competing against the SDW Lunatics, the Southborough and District Wheelers Lunatics, who are not too far adrift. They're on 2,403 points. So the podiums as they stand at the moment, golden jersey, Wouter Claes, Henrik Mard, Lorenzo Simons. Oh, taking in some scenery there of the trees. And then we've women's GC, Karen Bailey, Anne Y, and Wendy Wonderwheels. And followed by silver jersey, which is Greg Barnett. Been racing really ferociously. Peter Austin, Julian Fussell. Green jersey, Lorenzo Simons, Wouter Claes, and Matthias Lundqvist. Red jersey, Arnaud Denet, John Beams, and Salvo Caruso, Team ADR. And then, as I say, the Team GC, got the pedalers, SDW Lunatics, and Moonriders. A lot of stats on the Moonriders tours, lots of splitting up of the racing. You see Casper Hededam taking the front of this race, being chased by Lorenzo Simons and Igor Kops and John Beams. And once again, we see a split as Henrik Mard is caught the wrong side of this with Doug Hart. Doug Hart, I've watched in many a race, put down a phenomenal amount of power to bridge back across, but it doesn't look like he's doing that in this event. Wonder whether it's team tactics, whether he's done his job for the day and decided to let the riders go. But he's stuck back there with Henrik Mard and they're 2 pedalers riders. We're seeing a group of Bietigheim, Simons, Kops, and Beams settling down, working together. Bietigheim once more coming through to the front. Bietigheim was training for triathlons last year, and every race that he came into, he was just hitting it like a time trial and just going off the front. Phenomenal levels of power and ability to sustain them. He looks like he's started using a little bit more of a more canny tactic in the RGT races now, in that he is sitting back into the group and enjoying some of the drafting and saving some of his power. We are in the slightly more hillier section of this race now. Gradients up at 6 and 7% frequently. Disrupting the tempo of the riders and stringing things out quite considerably. Henrik Mard, who's just pulling away now from Doug Hart, has dropped back very considerably there. I'm just looking at the positioning. Henrik Mard's put in a phenomenal effort to try and bridge back to those lead riders. I don't think he's going to manage to get back to those. It'd be a really tremendous effort if he did. But I can see there that Keith Aitchison, I think it's Keith Aitchison of OTR, is pushing quite hard to try and get to the wheel of Henrik Mard. And Wouter Klaes slightly distanced on this event tonight. Wouter there just trying to push up to the wheel of Keith. Not much drafting benefit on the climbs we had, so it's not a massive detriment to not be on the wheel of a rider, but once you're crested, riding with somebody on the descents does make a massive amount of difference to speed. See Keith there just slowed slightly. I think that might have been a slightly poor gear change for Keith as Wouter closed in on him. Made some big distance up there, and Keith's back underway, and the gap's back to being held steady. 12.3% at the moment. Quite a challenging gradient. Keith now applies a little bit of power, opens the gap back up slightly on Wouter. So we'll just drop back in the groups now and see how the other riders, again known as Cabramanca, is enjoying these elevations and making a good pace up this hill. Doug Hart got back to 9th position from his earlier place in that lead group. Hard to tell sometimes when you're not totally with all the riders. Changing in elevations and things like this, you might have the rider throwing a chain, and that leads to them having a bit of a drop in their placing. But Faustino coming through now. Bringing with him Doug Hart. Doug Hart's back on the pace again now. Not letting Faustino go, but he's not overtaking him. He's just got back to his wheel. I wonder if he knows Faustino from other events and sees him as a good wheel to descend with. Doug, Faustino, pick up Cabramanca. They've flown through past Cabramanca, and Doug's putting in an effort now. But looking at the way that they've distanced Cabramanca, I'd say that Cabramanca is a lighter rider, and that would seem to reason well with the way he climbed up that section. He's not descending as quickly as Doug and Faustino are. Doug Hart continues round. 8th and 9th position for Hart and Faustino there. Drop back. Cabramanca caught by Careless Vespa. Quite dramatic to see the hillside, the hairpin there, and the dramatic drop in descent from the road that we were on a moment ago to where we are. That's how steep these roads are going downwards. Manca and Vespa there, locked together. I jump back up to the front group as we see Bietigheim still pacing away on the front, and that's Igor Kops who's come through at the lead. Beams, Mard and Lorenzo Simons there all together. Igor, a very strong rider. Opened a little bit of a gap up on the pursuing group, but Casper just puts in a little bit of an effort there. I think even if these riders don't chase down Igor, if they just continue riding at this sort of steady tempo, riding together on the descent will allow them to catch back up to Igor's wheel. Descending as a group in RGT is a heck of a lot faster than descending solos. Igor just eases slightly. Henrik Mard, Lorenzo Simons and Beams all put in a bit of an extra effort, and the group is once again back together. I noted there, sorry, was a group of 4. Henrik Mard has made it back. Henrik Mard dropped back with Doug Hart before and was considerably further back, but he's managed to make it back up and into this group. Up at plus 7.3 at the moment. Igor's heart rate there up at 168. Cadence is a little bit lower than the ideal thought. You know, it is rumored that around 90 cadence is the perfect cadence, but not many riders ride with a cadence of 90. Not many spin up the climbs like Froome does or did. Drop into the back of this group. Speeds increasing as they descend, and if you have a look in the top left hand corner there, you'll see the benefits of being at the back of a group now. outputting 44 watts and receiving a virtual drafting benefit of around about 440 watts there. Zooming in there. Eagle's wearing a Team California jersey there. Not a jersey that I'm familiar with. There are a lot of jerseys in the RGT platform now, and there's more arriving all the time. They have the Echelon Racing League events that take place every year on RGT, and that tends to bring in some new jerseys or redesign ones for the teams that take part. John Beams. That's the pace with Casper coming through. Casper's heart rate there down at 130. Heart rate's a very individual metric, but that is quite low in my opinion for good solid efforts that have been going on today. Casper takes off at the front, pushing out 4.2 watts per kilogram. His heart rate starting to lift there as the efforts start to increase. He's probably been able to enjoy quite a big bit of respite there on the group in the descending. Yeah, that certainly does seem to be the case. It looks like his heart rate's increasing now. It must have been must have the beauty of having a very quickly recovered heart rate as his heart rate's dropped down to 130 and has bounced back up to 146 as he's started having to put a bit of effort now on this group. We're 40 minutes into this race. We've still got 16.6 kilometers left to cover as Casper and Igor start to set the pace on the front of this race, and the elevations flatten out somewhat. We'll drift back and have a look at some of the other riders on the course, just to everybody else a little bit of screen time. We've got Woodsclace and Faustino with Keith OTR. I think that's Keith Aitchison. The OTR riders who've clubbed together. There's a number of the riders for OTR who've jumped in on a team competition with the Southborough and District Wheelers on this particular event. It's good to see quite a bit of interaction between the teams, joining up and helping each other out so they can get a team in and do a team competition. Then we've got Doug Hart, Vespa and Cabramanca. And in a little bit of no man's land, we've got Barnett. I've been chased down by a group of Newton, Snova and Daniel Schoch, but it doesn't look like he wants to be closed down the way he's pushing at the moment. sometimes you wonder if you're in a no man's land situation like this. We've got 580 meters to the group in front. It's almost inevitable that the 3 riders behind would catch him back up. Sometimes it's just easier to ease up, have a moment's respite and let them catch and work together till you're nearer the finish line. Start to have the games of looking at each other and wondering who's going to go first. Barnett's caught there by Schoch, Newton and Snova. Drift further back in the races. We see Daniel Newbur there, Adler's team. 16th position. Again, big distances between the group in front and the riders behind. Rocket Roy Neild, another member of the OTR who's thrown his hat in the ring for the Southborough District Wheelers team. The SDW Lunatics, as they've called themselves. The Luna, the throw to the fact that it's a Moonriders event. And then with Isator and Caruso. Like Caruso may actually be watching on the stream. Thank you for the wave, Caruso. And then we've got Tim Cook, Team 3R with, I'm sure it's Rob Miller, but I could be well wrong. Peter Austin. And then we've got Herrera, Thunderbird, Stenson, and there's Andrei Krzyzowski of Rasio Racing with Marty, and then Simon Miller, another of the Southborough District Wheelers, racing with Stephen Bellio of OTR. As Lorenzo Simons, I think, is just shouted up that he's watching on the stream too. You have to give a wave out next time the camera comes to you, Lorenzo. And we've Stollair of RGT Sweden with Achilles. And Helveg. And it's Gabe, OTR. So there is quite a number of OTR riders in this event. I don't think they've got their own team running. I'm going to have to double check on the team classifications now. Iglesias, who was up at the front at the beginning of this race, but he drifted back somewhat. Mike Wareham, one of the Moonriders, who've set this event up. So I just have to give a big shout out to the Moonriders. They do put a lot of effort into the events that they set up, and they are organising more on RGT. They're a very good bunch of guys, and they're looking for new members. So if you aren't already in a team, if you don't have a virtual club, then I would say to have a look at the Moonriders, because they do put on some good events. And they're active on the platform, and they're just nice guys. So it's worth giving them a shout if you're looking for a team to take part in events with. So we've got Crichton and Almeida, 36th and 37th position. And we are with Alvario and Reith still on the climb, who are just being reeled back in by Serrano and Sargiano. There's Fishback. Good solid power on the climb. It's Edie for some good points from this event for the women's GC. Pascal. Then there's Denia. Volkostov. Big push. Smeets. Bailey. Who's also looking for some good points on the Ladies GC, current leader. Mayorquin. And then back to my bot, just cruising along and keeping me in the event. So we're back up at the front here. Now we've got Eagle Cops, Henrik Mard, Casper Hederdam, Lorenzo Simons, and John Beams. Henrik Mard now puts in a little bit of an effort on the front. We are 10.9 kilometers remaining from the end of this event. Wonder if we'll see any further separation now as Henrik Mard just puts in a bit of an effort, stretches things out, but eases as the other riders come back to him. Unfortunately, the gradient graph in the top right hand corner of the screen is slightly stalled. It is showing the correct gradient, the elevation that you can see in the middle with the green colour around it currently to show that we're on a minus slope, negative. We're descending. The bit of detailing that shows you a sort of graphical view of the elevation that we're approaching and how steep it's going to be is stalled. We can see just a Portuguese flag there. It's on a flat section, not representing where we are actually in the course. So John Beams, Casper Hederdam, all just steady in this section. Have a look at Eagle Cops' heart rate there. We'll go to John Beams, 146 for John Beams there, 147. Eagle Cops down at 120. Mard 137. Hederdam 137, and Simon's not wearing a heart rate monitor this evening. The Eagle Cops. Eagle has been an elite rider for some time, so has a well-trained heart, so able to function at higher powers with lower heart rates. We just see his power flipping up to 560 there. And Casper Hederdam puts in an effort there, just coming around the corner. 9.2 kilometers left to go, but I can see this is starting to get a little bit spicy. There's some of the riders who are using the terrain and looking at where they're going to be able to make a break and thin this down even more. This lead group of 5 riders together, but 250 meter gap on the road, which doesn't seem that much anymore. Back to the group of Faustino, Claes, and Keith Aitchison. So if these riders just keep on hitting a steady pace, there's a good chance that they're going to get caught by that following group. See Henrik Mard just slowed slightly, has caught Lorenzo Simons on the wrong side of him. Henrik Mard makes it back into the group. Henrik having to make a massive effort earlier on. He dropped out of the pack, out of the lead group with Doug Hart. I don't know if he did it intentionally or whether he'd been distracted. and dropped back. And then he had to make a massive effort to get himself back into the group. .1 kilometers remaining. We've still got some elevation to deal with in between times though. But that's in an effort. 5.8 watts per kilogram. Early parts of this first of the 2 remaining slopes. Starts off quite gently, has a spike in the early section. Seen that in the distance, around about 6%. And backs off considerably. Igor Kops takes the lead. Pressure up at 7.6% now. Lorenzo closing this down, making sure he's up there with Igor. On beams, distance slightly. Hard, back of the group. Gradient still up at 8.2. And Lorenzo and Igor have just opened up a small gap on the rest of the group. Igor continues to apply the pressure and is slightly distancing Lorenzo Simons now as well. Igor heart rate up from down at 120 when we last checked in with Igor. 120, 125. It's up at 173 now. See that he's putting in the effort now as Lorenzo Simons drifts back to the group behind him. Igor opens up a gap of 56 meters. The gentler slopes, a little bit more aggressive again now, up at 5%. Igor up at 6.4, 6.3. Gap now gradually increasing up to 96 meters. Slight descent here. And the gap to the Faustino group is opening. Casper Hederdam's actually dropped off the back of this group as well. Wasn't expecting that to happen. Eagle Cops opens up the gap 160 meters now into the descending section. A helicopter view, see if we can get the chasing group in. They are out of view. meters now. Out through the foliage. Hugo pushes on, 5 kilometers remaining. ...608 meters of elevation climbed. Just going to drop back to the group behind, the chasing group. See, as Lorenzo Simons has been picked back up by that group. Lorenzo easily spotted by his green jersey, but he is now stuck with 2 Pedalaires riders. John Beams and Henrik Mard. Henrik, having done a fantastic bridge across earlier on, I'm not sure how much he'll have left in the tank. He pushes on. And draws Simons with him. Mard eases, and then John Beams. Thought that the riders were going to be using tactics there. I thought they might be hitting Simons with a 1-2 attack. Come into this slope, 10.7%. Fish is riding well now. Simon's on the front of this group and just opening up a gap. He's riding away from the wheel of Henrik Mard. He's riding Henrik Mard off his wheel, which is no mean feat as Simons continues going. The gap opens slightly. 10 meters now. Henrik Mard and John Beams struggling to respond. But there is a large section of flat and descending after this climb. Will the shared power of Henrik Mard and John Beams be able to bring Simons in on that flatter section? Simons continues playing 6.2 watts per kilogram on this 11.3% slope. Over the top onto the flatter section. Changed gear. Pushes once again. Gap 30 meters now. Henrik Mard and John Beams together. Slowly reeling. Simon's back in. Simon's not able to put enough distance into them on that climb. Beams goes past, and then Mard applies the power, shuts it down. Beams comes through over the top. I'm really surprised that Beams and Mard are not doing classic 1-2 attacks on Simons here. Perhaps they've already burnt too many matches. Drafting now down at -9%. Simon's having to be careful to make sure he stays in the wheel. Enjoys that drafting benefit. jump forward to Igor Kops. And Igor, that his power dropped slightly on that descending section, has recovered somewhat, but now he's back into a little climb. 4%, 7.1 watts per kilogram. Igor takes part in the VCN team time trial series with his Virtue Slow teammates. They've a very solid team. He's also a big proponent of the e-bio passport, the body to basically try and make virtual cycling as honest as possible. As Henrik Mard goes. Henrik Mard goes and Simons chases. Beams being left behind. Beams applies the power. Beams and Mard making Simon's life very difficult here. Mard puts in a big effort. Forces Simons to chase. And Mard's not easing. Is this Mard's last match? 550 meters left to go. Igor Kops, 230 meters. Still pushing for the finish line. You can see that Beams goes now. Beams is just going in the background there. Henrik Mard goes once again, and then Simons is chasing him. Igor Kops comes over. Henrik Mard pushing now for the line. Simons behind him. Simons is chasing. Got Beams on his wheel. He's dragging Beams with him. This is a very difficult point to be as Beams comes over the top of Simons. Oh, Henrik Mard, John Beams, and then Simons come through in second, third, and fourth as we see Faustino, Hiederdam, and Wouter Klaes now. 218 meters to go. Faustino's gone early. Casper Hiederdam and Wouter Klaes have got big power. 120 meters to go. Hiederdam and Klaes coming through. Klaes onto the wheel. Faustino. Klaes through. Klaes comes under the line. I think it's Hiederdam and then Faustino. Faustino just tailing off towards the end there. Great racing there from all the riders in that front group. Lorenzo Simons ended up in a very difficult position there with John Beams and Henrik Mard, two teammates together. I had expected them to be doing 1-2 attacks consistently and drawing Simons out and then allowing him to catch, if you will, and before the other rider goes again. But not sure if they were in communication during the race, John Beams and Henrik Mard. As Keith OTR got 170 meters left to go. Vespers trying to close him down, not quite able to. He comes over the line, then Vesper, Cabramanca, 70 meters left to go. Finishes in 10th with Doug Hart, who was up in that front group for a long time. He's faded back and he's coming through in 11th position. With 40 meters left. And then with a grouping with Newton Barnett and Snova. Daniel Schoch just behind. .700 meters left to go. make the first attack. .450 meters. Newton's power bar goes red. Snova. Barnett now probably in the favourable position. Snova pushes. Snova's going for it with 250 meters left to go. Newton on his wheel. And Barnett comes through. Barnett with a late charge. Barnett comes through. Barnett into the lead. Newton straight onto his wheel. Has Newton got enough left to take Barnett on the line? Newton comes through. Barnett. Newton over Barnett. Then Snova. Dropping back on the road to Daniel Schoch. Daniel Schoch of the Moonriders team. Coming through in 15th position. Going to see Daniel over the line, and then we'll have a chat back with the remaining riders on the course, and we'll be bringing the stream to an end there. It's been great having you along to watch. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Still got a fantastic number of riders out on the course tonight. Being a Hilly, of course, took a little bit longer than the rest of the courses have done in the event. Daniel Schoch comes over in just over an hour and 9 minutes. Then we have Roy Neal with Daniel Nurgbur, 15th and 17th position. Isator, 18th. Miller, 19th. Caruso, Team ADR, 20th. Tim Cook, Team 3R. Van der Berg. Peter Austin. All the riders quite distant from each other. Gaps of around about 100, 200 meters at the moment. Herrera. Lee Stenson. Team 3R. Then with a little grouping now of Stephen Bellio, Simon Miller, Andrei Krzyzowski, and Stoller. That climb, clumping the riders together. There's Aquiles, Helveg, Iglesias, Gabe, and Mike Wareham, Almeida, Brighton, Argiani, Van Reeth. Were riding together, but they've split up now. Calvario was in that group as well as Serrano. Now we have Matthias Fishback. No problem, Simon. Simon Lorenzo's just showing thanks for the stream. It's no problem. It's a pleasure to be able to help out the Moonriders and to cover some great racing. You did really well on the racing tonight as well, Simon. It's fantastic, and you just ended up a little bit stuck between two pedalers there. Matthias Fishback giving a shout out there on the stream. And then we've Pascal and Edie. Edie looking for the points in the women's jersey tonight and looking like she's going to do well. Volkostov, Karen Bailey challenging with Edie on the women's GC, and then we have Smeets. We'll just fly back up to the front. We're going to see the last couple of riders come over the line. Tim Cook now coming up on the line. Team 3R. and Van der Bergt. And I'll follow Van der Bergt over the line, and we're going to call it quits for this evening. I've really enjoyed bringing this stream to all you guys tonight. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. There'll be more streams on the VCN channel, bringing them out all the time, and I hope you sign up to the channel, subscribe to the YouTube, and help us to bring you more great coverage. Have a great evening, and for those who haven't finished yet, enjoy the rest of the race, and we'll see you next time.